It is time to turn our attention to our New Yorker of the Week. Tonight we honor a man who's hitting the road on his custom bicycle to raise money to help refugees and dispel misconceptions about immigration. Take a look. This is no ordinary bike, but then again, Jeffrey Heller is no ordinary cyclist.
I don't like to be a squirrel in a cage riding in a circle. I'd rather start somewhere, end up somewhere else, and actually do useful work.
About 4 weeks ago, Jeff left New York, embarking on his second Ride for Human Rights. It's a bicycle fundraising event to raise awareness and funds for refugees seeking asylum in the United States. It's for the charity Human Rights First, an organization Jeff started working with for free as a lawyer more than 20 years ago.
And an opportunity arose to take a pro bono, a free political asylum case for a Haitian refugee. When I got involved with that, I began to remember the reasons I went to law school, the sort of things one forgets when one is in debt and has bills to pay. I found it much more satisfying to work with an individual who was fighting not for money, but fighting against the system that wanted to return him or her to a place where they would suffer.
Jeff's journey took him 1,000 miles from New York through Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia to Tennessee, stopping along the way to give talks on asylum cases. Helping to solve injustice keeps Jeff cycling and practicing law.
When you hear that that relief has been granted, you can get choked up, and then you feel that it was a good day's work, and that's a good feeling.
He cites stories from people like Naad Sergu, whose family fled Ethiopia's civil war.
We were very scared. We were very desperate. We didn't know where to go, how to do things. Jeff reassured us. Jeff showed us so much empathy and really represented what we believed were the ideals of America. And it's about giving people a chance. People who have nowhere else to turn have someone to turn to. And so he gave us a lot of hope. That changed certainly all of our families' lives.
And so, for raising awareness on the road and changing lives along the way, Jeffrey Heller is our New Yorker of the Week. And joining me now in studio is our New Yorker of the Week, Jeff Heller. Thank you so much for coming in and for all the work you've been doing.
My pleasure to be here.
We can't ignore the obvious. There's a kangaroo on my desk here, so it's not just because you like kangaroos. Tell us why you travel with this stuffed animal.
Well, I've used Joey as a prop in my lectures to lawyers about the asylum system for many years. Joey's the kangaroo court puppet. And it's not that the judges are necessarily unfair in the courts, but the system is not a fair system. The laws don't comport with human nature or common sense. So Joey's a symbol of that, and Joey also looks Australian, but actually is from Korea.
Why this fight? Why work for free for Human Rights First, and why take up this cause?
Because Human Rights First strikes a chord in my heart dealing with refugees. Most people in this country, many people in the city, had ancestors who were fleeing from something. And my grandparents came here as refugees from Russia. So it's very important to me that other people get the chance to find refuge here, to get peace and security here. And Human Rights First is an excellent organization because they appeal to both left and right. People on the left can go along with their sort of liberal attitude toward immigration and refugees, and people on the right can take heart from the fact that, for example, recently they organized a group of retired United States generals and admirals to come out against Guantanamo, against torture, to promote American values, which don't include those sorts of things. It's something that appeals to everyone.
You said in our story, I began to remember the reason I went to law school. Let's talk further about that. What was the motivation then? Why did you go into law school? And talk more about how you got to reunite yourself with this feeling.
Well, I wanted to save the world. And then
we all do, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
At some point, right.
And I fortunately had the opportunity to do that a little bit, largely because of my wife, Nancy, who is a wonderful woman and very supportive. You caught a glimpse of her on the video. I was doing corporate bankruptcy for a prominent firm in New York. I was definitely a bench warmer, a second stringer, and they thought that some of us new lawyers back in 1983 would benefit from doing a little bit of litigation. So they encouraged us to take a free case for a Haitian boat person, and I did, and then I began to get into it. And remember,
you win a case and you win someone's freedom.
That's right. And then it feels really good and better than winning some extra money for your fat cat who's fighting somebody else's fat cat. Money makes the world go round. It's very important. And business law is very important, but it just wasn't for me.
Tell us more about the Ride for Human Rights, 1,000 miles, and you've got the kangaroo strapped to the bicycle.
Yes.
First off, can anyone join? Like, tell us a little bit about this the actual ride itself.
If I go somewhere next year, I'd love to have a crowd. I tried to get a crowd, but last year I went to Iowa, this year to Nashville, Tennessee, both times alone, just the puppet and me. And I love speaking with people along the way, and people in New York might be surprised at how open-minded people are in places like Appalachia, where I was this year. You tell them about human rights and talk to them about how the things that they've been told by politicians very often about immigrants and immigration and refugees, how those things are wrong, and they're very receptive.
How long does it take to go 1,000 miles? How many stops do you make along the way?
Well, I made quite a few. It took me about 2 weeks. I figure I have to do at least 60 miles a day. Some days are shorter, some days are considerably longer.
And we have a website to show our viewers where they can find out more information about your attempts, or your attempt, you've done it, to make this trek. It's rideforhumanrights.com. This may be a little bit off topic, but for our viewers who are cyclists, they might want to know a little bit about that bicycle.
It's a Lightning Phantom 2. A Lightning bicycle in 1989 set the speed record from Los Angeles to New York City with a team of riders. 5 days, 1 hour, 8 minutes, coast to coast. And this bike is equipped with a fairing that's made by a former missile engineer in California.
Custom built? I mean, it looks like you made it yourself, honestly.
No, I mean, the fairing is custom. The bicycle, if you get their flagship model, it costs twice as much and weighs 3 pounds less. The one that I rode, it looks like the flagship model almost, and was made in Taiwan.
How long are you going to be doing this, Jeff?
As long as I can muster the strength to get out on the road and think of a good place to go to raise money for human rights first and raise consciousness, and maybe to change people's attitudes a bit, because in this country power comes from the people, and the more we educate the people, the more chance there is that they'll come to the right conclusion.
Jeff Heller, our New Yorker of the Week. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Once again, the information is rideforhumanrights.com.